All right, Fungal Banner fans. We are back with another great guest as we are excited to welcome on Joe Taylor from Brewster High School, head coach there. Joe, thank you for joining the podcast tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. You got one of the cooler backgrounds too of the night. So if you haven't checked our YouTube channel out, listeners, go to that. There's some good stuff there. Our first hard hitting question every episode. What's your favorite fungo?
Devo,
Okay, there you
my guy.
go.
Devo's my
They're
guy.
back.
Yeah, I only use them. But I did leave my last Devo in the bathroom at the Helena Senators Park, so I got to get a new one.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I
Oh
had that
man.
baby for a few years too.
No.
Yeah,
Oh man.
We
had that
know a
nice
guy in
wood
Helena. I'll see
frame
if
on
it's
the
still
top
there.
half and nice and bare on the bottom half. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could hit some
Well,
serious catcher pop ups with that thing.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, talk us through your playing career. Where you started playing baseball, and then what led you to becoming the head coach at Brewster?
Oh, so obviously I grew up playing baseball, Little League in Brewster. Got to play right outside my house at Taylor Field. After that, got to play Babe Ruth for the high school coach, who was Todd Phillips at the time. And that led into high school. Obviously, did that for 4 years. Got to play as an eighth grader, so actually 5 years. So I got to play with my brother 3 years. That was a lot of fun. We had some good teams. Then my senior year, we actually lost to Coach Jarrett my junior year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lost to them in the championship. And then senior year, we got third. We had a pretty good team. We just kind of choked there at the end. And then after that, had a few colleges, ended up going to YVC, Yakima, ran into COVID. I was having a fun year that year too. Then COVID kind of shut that deal down. So that ended that season. Took the next year off, went back for a third year, but it was only my second year. Got to play a lot. Got to actually play with one of my high school buddies, Corey Jarrell. He ended up going there. He went to UW first, and then he went there. And we got to play together, and he was like my best friend all throughout high school. So that was a lot of fun. And then, I was a little bit older. I had a lot of fun. Had a few colleges wanted me to go, Whitworth, a couple other little D2s, but just decided to come home. I wanted to farm. I like being home. I'm a homebody. So I could have went and played. I kind of missed it. Wish I would have, but I met my wife this way, and God's got a plan for you. So trusted in it. And then I've always wanted to coach in Brewster, especially baseball. I want to win a state championship at Brewster any way I can. I don't even care if I'm the assistant coach. I just want to be a part of it. It means a lot to me. So I want to get into coaching. Todd Phillips was the coach before me. He had a great career. He's got a lot of wins. I got one state title under his belt, and I was his assistant for 1 year, and then he up and retired, and I took the job from there. And this will be my second year. So came full circle for sure.
Joe, coming into your second year here as a Brewster head guy, you're a local hometown guy.
Yep.
What kind of pressures does that kind of pull onto your shoulders? I mean, you think about it. I mean, everybody kind of knows Joe Taylor. You establish yourself as a player, and also you're filling big shoes, after Coach Phillips and what he's been able to do, and the consistency of getting to the Final Four and pulling out a state championship in 22 against a unbelievable Jackson Cox, Toutle Lake thrower. He's now, drafted and moved on. But what kind of pressures and, sense of, you get at, from that?
Yeah, we have a really great community here. I got a lot of family members in town, but there's a lot of people who played baseball here that are back in Brewster, and I think the pressure probably comes from myself more than anybody else, just because I love Brewster. I want to win. It means a lot to me, and I think I put a lot of pressure just on myself. Everybody's got my back. Everyone expects to win, because we've all won while we played. And yeah, I think there's a little bit of pressure. I think it's a big program for, high school. It's well known. Everybody knows it. And I would say from people around, they're really supportive, but I think most of the pressure comes from myself, just from my competitiveness, wanting to win. I want to bring a title back to Brewster. I don't care if that's just 1 or 10, whatever it is. But yeah, I'd say a lot of people are supportive, not a lot of pressure, but for myself, yes.
What have kind of been the big challenges kind of stepping back in? You get your first head job, and I know it's kind of nerve-wracking, and I think we've all been there, right? People talk about, like, if you want to be a head coach, you got to be a head coach, but at some point in time, everyone has their first year, right?
Yeah.
But kind of talk about some of those nerves, some of those growing pains that you've maybe gone through, things that you maybe didn't expect to be challenges that end up being challenges. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, so a few challenges. Like I said, we have a really supportive community, so a lot of guys come down to help, but like putting together practice plans and stuff, I've like never done that. And it's like, what do I want to do today? We need to work on everything and just be able to like organize practices like that. And, obviously making the right calls in games. Like, I know what to do, but it's like, do I want to pull the trigger because it could fail? I always hate that, but
Mm-hmm.
you kind of just got to let it rip and see what happens, right? But it kind of hit me my first game when we played Tenasket. I was like, shoot, I'm in charge. The kids are looking at me, the assistant's looking at me, and he has 10 more years than I do under his belt. So I was just like, there were some growing pains that kind of opened my eyes that first game that I had the responsibility. But I don't know, my assistant coach last year was my brother-in-law. I leaned on him a lot, and my old coach Todd Phillips. They really helped me through it. But yeah, making practice plans and then realizing that I had all the responsibility kind of was a eye opener. But a few growing pains here and there. Pitching, I'm not a pitcher. I'm like a position guy, hitting guy, and going through, who's going to start, how we're going to relieve, how we're going to pitch that. I'm still growing in that, and that's something I got a lot of growing to do in. So,
Are those just different avenues like classes or just relationships within, your league with other coaches, or just certain guys that you're working with to kind of grow that knowledge and that experience?
yeah, I look to you and Todd, Todd Gibson, Ellensburg guy. I'm looking what you guys did. You guys are obviously great coaches. I think I've asked Todd questions before. I lean a lot on my old head coach, Todd Phillips, just asking what he did, how'd you handle this situation? Another thing is like school, making sure guys are doing their classes and make sure they're in the right stuff, make sure they're eligible, just never having to deal with that. That was all just new, but like I said, lean on my assistant coaches. They've helped me a lot. Liberty Bell coach has helped me. Tenasket guys they got a couple of great coaches up there, and I can always ask them questions. But yeah, anybody I ask, no one's going to give me the cold shoulder type deal. So, and a lot of my cousins and former players are here, and my brother's a high school basketball coach, and my dad's obviously a Hall of Famer basketball coach. So I got a lot of avenues I can go to if I need questions or need help.
Yeah, I remember as that first year coach, right? You feel that sense of pressure and that, like, man, do I do this, or am I a absolute failure, or am I going to be a success? And then you start playing in your head too. What are parents are going to think about me, or what are the players are going to react if I tell this kid to bunt or play the squeeze play or whatever we do, So you start playing really big head games within your own mind. I mean, I think it doesn't necessarily get easier, just adjust to those. And that those self-doubts come into your mind, especially in those bigger games. And you just know how to compartmentalize that stuff. You just kind of have to put that behind you. Again, it's kind of like the position player. You have to control your breathing and think clearly, because if you elevate your heart rate and you start being expressive in your language and your body language, your team's going to feel that. And so that's just one of those things. I remember that first couple years at prep taking over, you just have these big dreams of like, yeah, we're going to go to state and we're going to kill the league and we're going to win. And dude, you're walking away with 4 wins in the win column and 16 in the lose. You're like, man,
Yeah.
but it's just, it's just those baby steps, and I think if you get instant success, and I'm not against those guys that come in and do it, I mean, kudos to them, but man, it is a hard gig.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Yep.
Was it an adjustment? Because I remember I didn't really dawn on me until later on in my coaching career, but like, I'm a farmer as well, and not being in the hallways every single day and trying to keep up with everybody in the school and all your players. Like, do you find that to be quite the challenge? 'Cause I know that's one thing for me that I've always tried to get better at.
Yeah, so I have like no history with high school because I was homeschooled my whole life. Or I went to a Christian school, but then I was homeschooled for high school. So I've never even been in the hallways, done the classroom thing. I went to college and there's COVID, everything was online, like never been to a class, right?
Oh,
So I have
wow.
like no history with it. But luckily my assistant coach was a PE teacher. He's now the AD. And I really had to rely on him for a lot of stuff, just like simple things like final forms and, getting a PO to get balls and stuff. I didn't know how to do any of that type of stuff, but yeah, I had no idea. Luckily, I had my brother-in-law to lean on a lot, and he helped me with that. And now this year, it kind of looks like a piece of cake. That first year growing pains, but we got through it.
It's just what you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
And there's a lot that pops up at that first year.
Exactly.
Do you have a set pitching coach that kind of helps you out, that kind of has been the person to guide that training, instruction, throwing program, those type of things? Or you mentioned you not having pitching experience, myself included, also the same situation. Have you kind of passed that off, or are you trying to kind of trial and error, learn and adapt, fight or flight, that pitching management side of things?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I was just like, I pitched, I was like our number one, number two guy, but I was just a thrower, right? I'm just throwing. I got a couple pitches, but my brother Michael, who's a basketball coach, he was a great pitcher, and he comes down and works with our guys, just on like the fundamentals, technique, and all that type of stuff. He knows a lot more than I do. I know the basics, but with like pitching rotations and what they should be doing during the day, at practice, what do you call it, arm care, stuff like that. I asked a lot of questions of my brothers. Like I said, my assistant coach had a lot of experience just, from coaching for a while. So he kind of knew what to do. I had a little bit of knowledge, but I'm still good friends with our pitching coach from Yakima. I asked him a few questions, and then my cousin, Jared Riggin, he was a professional big leaguer, and he was a pitcher. So if I have any questions, I'm going to him, for everything. And he's sending me videos on Instagram all the time about what I could do, do this, try that. So yeah, that's just kind of how I've been navigating it right now.
So
What do you
Joe,
get in your
what
practice
is it?
plans on that? Like, have you had to I'm assuming your better pitchers are probably also your better hitters and position players. It's
Yep.
small school baseball. That's how it goes. How have you kind of integrated that process of making sure the pitching development side doesn't take the backseat to everything else that's going on within practice?
Yeah, that was tough. It did take a back seat last year. And we really only had one true pitcher last year. That was kind of our downfall, especially in districts. We ran out of pitching, and I knew it was going to happen. And I tried not to throw him too much early in the season, but spread out his games where he was still getting, a good amount of innings. But yeah, I kind of caught myself mid-season, like I haven't done anything with our pitchers in a while. I'm so worried about ground balls and double plays and first and thirds, and so that was kind of a learning curve that I got to stay on top of that. I didn't do a good job of it last year, and this year it's like priority number one. So yeah, man, I put it on the back burner last year. Won't happen again this year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right on.
Especially with the young, we got a lot of young guys on our team this year, and most of them can pitch. So we're going to do a lot of arm care. I got some great stuff from some guys, and we're going to try to implement it.
So is that something you're kind of already got in day one? You're sitting down with all your guys that throw. Hey, this is our game plan. This is kind of our rotation idea. I mean, this is the day, Monday through Friday. What you guys, I want you doing. you
Yep.
know, and kind of running through that scenario.
Yeah. Me and I was sitting down today just by myself in the office, and I was just going over what we could do. I was kind of looking at the schedule. Who do we have? So yeah, we're just gonna do. I'm gonna really focus on like arm care, playing long toss, strengthening that arm. But this year we're probably gonna have a lot of guys throw not a lot of innings, but multiple guys throw one game because we got one good pitcher that played on our Rocket team last year. He'll be able to do a full game, but most of those other kids we're gonna have to split it. So I'm just trying to navigate through there, how to save that guy's arm, pitch the bigger games, see if we can get by with these other guys, just trying to game plan like that, like you said. But no, I'm going to really focus on trying to strengthen those arms. So, 2 years down the road, these guys are all sophomores. By the time they're seniors, we could have 4 or 5 pitchers, in the rotation, which would be huge to be,
Mhm.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And
That's
that's
a
what it takes.
that's
Go
a
ahead,
big
Ed.
one. Was it the 21 when we played our 10-game season, and we had like back-to-back double headers. We're small school, man. We don't got that.
Yeah.
I know. Well, for game one, we were getting beat pretty good, and all of a sudden, I was like, anybody else here throwing? Like, can we just get through that? We have one more inning to get 10 ran here. Well, coach, and it turned into I wrote down all the names. You go throw a bullpen. We'll see who throws the most strikes, and you'll get out of this game. But the year after that, man, it worked out so much that I think that's understanding. Not every kid is going to be your dude, but you can find a spot for a kid that has the tools in it, right? And just trying to make sure that we can squeeze as much out of that kid as possible.
Yeah.
But especially in our situation, if people don't schedule things right and we're playing too many games back to back to back, it'll kill a pitching staff real fast in our level.
Yeah, and that happened to us last year. We had a insane league schedule. So we played a game on Tuesday, a single on Thursday, and then a double on Saturday every week. And it killed us. Like, we were losing to teams that, we probably should have beat, that we would beat with our main guy. And I remember one week we played like the number 2 team on a Tuesday, the number 4 team on a Thursday, and then Liberty Bell for a doubleheader on Saturday. And I got one pitcher. So I'm just like, which game am I going to sacrifice, And, of course, we're playing Riverview or something on that Thursday, and I want to compete with them, but I can't throw my guy. But we fixed that this year. That was a big problem last year. So I'm happy they got rid of that.
Well, I what I like about it, Joe, I mean, you think about the scouting standpoint, right? When you get into the postseason, you start pulling up numbers and you got 6 guys that have only thrown a third of or 2/3 of an inning apart from each other. You're like, okay, I know maybe they're pinpoint dude, but I mean, who are they going to go next? And how do you prepare for that? I mean, I think in that sense, on the small school side, it's a little bit easier to pick up. Even at the larger school, I mean, it's a little bit more. You got the diet guy with the numbers and all that kind of stuff. But for us, if you're a school that is big into scouting and kind of want to prep your guys, especially as you get deeper into the playoffs, and you're looking at, man, you can't really don't have a lot of time in practice to prepare for 6 other arms.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So what's the league going to look like this year up north? I mean, you were kind of talking about, you got Liberty Bell up there. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, so we got
overall-
Liberty Bell. I think they could be a top team. They got the dudes to do it. I mean, you saw them this summer. They played for me. They play hard. They're gritty, man. They beat you. I mean, they'll just beat you with effort. Those guys are fun to coach. They're no fun to play against, but I like watching them. I like it when guys play hard. Then we got Okanagan. They got a few good kids. Their best player played on our Rocket team, Braden Meyer. He's got a really good arm. He's a shutdown pitcher. They got a few other guys who can really hit. So they'll be tough. Obviously, we got us. We'll probably, we got a younger team this year, but, I expect a lot from them. We're going to go at it like we're number 1 favorites, right? How else are you going to go about it? You know what I mean? And then Tenasket, they got a good kid, another good pitcher. They're always solid. They're always a tough competition. And then you got Manson. They got, like I said, they got another guy who's going to be tough when he pitches. And we actually combined with that 1A league, the CTL, but they're not technically in our league, right? But we
Mm.
play them. So we'll play them once, which will be great. Chelan's going to have a good team. Cashmere, I think we play them once. Omac's actually been on the up, so they'll be a tough game. But yeah, it's going to be a competitive league. I'm excited. I like when all the teams are good. I'm excited that we're going to face good competition. When I was kind of in high school, it was kind of like us, and then you go face Mercado. It looks like he's throwing 200 miles an hour. You know what I mean? So, no, it's nice to have good arms in our league, good teams. I think this summer baseball thing is really helping. It's having more kids play. LR is another team that had that awesome lefty that was on my Rocket team. He'll be tough. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think we'll have a pretty good league. We'll be competitive.
Mhm. Talk about that. The Tillage Baseball League has turned into, it was a really cool thing last year. And for where we're at geographically, right? Like we can't always be playing 50, 80 games a year, but and actually we're one of the best things you can do is practice in the summertime, right? With some of these
Yep.
things. So talk about what the Tillage League meant. I mean, you guys were, playing summer baseball, the places you played in high school, and we've all played summer ball, Legion and whatnot back in the day. We were always playing for something. There was always a tournament at the end. You go to a World Series at some point, and I thought it was really cool that league brought that back to play for a lot of kids who can't go travel all the way to Spokane, Seattle, wherever, right? And maybe they want to be at basketball practice later that night after our baseball practice. But let's talk about the experience of that this year.
Oh, I loved it. It was so much fun. I had nothing but good things from everybody who played with me. All the parents loved it. It's just it's a really good idea, and kudos to Jason and Todd for getting it going. They're doing a great job with it. So when I played River Dogs, I liked it. I mean, it was exhausting. I mean, we played Thursday through Sunday every week. You're in Wyoming and Idaho and Montana, which was fun. We played a lot of small town stadium type deals. But no, I love playing just straight up baseball, which I feel like what we're doing. It like means something every time we play because we're playing for something in that Tillage League tournament. And I think you saw it last year. Our guys were into it in that tournament. I mean, we wanted to win. We were expecting to win. And being able to practice during the week and getting those guys down into Brewster, from Liberty Bell, Tenasket, Okanagan, the Brewster guys coming down and just hitting and just, the grass is green, music's playing, guys are in shorts, pitching machines out there. You're getting a hit with your boys in the summer, I never got to do that with River Dogs because guys were from all over the place. So I think just like that camaraderie and kids getting to know each other and, being from the same area, it was just a lot of fun. I'm really happy we're a part of it. And I expect to be a part of it for a long time. I mean, it's such a great idea. And I think that's why guys want to get into it because they just see that, we're playing baseball, and we're just getting better with our own guys. We don't have to worry about other guys. It's not expensive. You get to go play other small town schools with great coaches. I mean, Jason beat us in a state championship. I mean, I did not like the guy until last summer. No, but you get to know guys. It's awesome, the camaraderie.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah.
Hey Joe, I'm gonna kind of shift the channel here a little bit. You mentioned earlier on you grew up playing at Taylor Field, and
Yeah.
I know for myself, I got the great opportunity. I honestly believe it is the Field of Dreams of Brewster. Kind of just explain to our listeners what is Taylor Field? How did it get started? I don't know if you want to let everybody know where it's at. Maybe so, but it's up to you. But absolutely, this is a gorgeous place. So tell us a little bit about Taylor Field.
152 Mountain View Drive, right there, Brewster, Washington.
All right, cool. Never mind. That's
Look
good.
at it.
You might have some old
down the
guy out
road
there
from my
yelling at
house.
him, right? Some old guy
What's
out
that?
there yelling at him, right? As they're
Oh, yeah.
driving. Hey, keep on driving.
Yeah. No, it's like I say, Brewster's the center of the world, but that's like the center, Taylor Field, by the way. Fun fact. It's like the greatest place ever, and it's home. It's where we all grew up. My dad takes care of it, It's like his baby, right? And no, you got to see it. It's hard to put it into words how awesome that place is, especially in the summer when it's green. My dad just watered the dirt. It's dark brown, horses in the background, gardens back there, big pine trees in center, cage in right field. The nephews are playing wiffle ball in the infield, just nothing better. Town gets to go there there's like 80 some games in the spring there. And during the summer, we have tournaments, and just seeing people from the town, they come out. People don't even have kids on the teams. They just want to come get a burger, watch the games. It's just, it's just a great place.
And the teams that you're bringing in are from all over the state, pretty much, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we had a team from Penticton come in from Canada last year. Expos came last year, little expos. And we had some really fun tournaments. People are always like, we were not expecting this every time they pull up. They're just like, holy smokes, we were wondering, I thought we took the wrong turn in the middle of an orchard. All of a sudden there's a baseball field, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun being able to be around there, and we get to take care of the field. Sometimes we're umpiring. Our high school guys will umpire some games, and yeah, it's just awesome.
So I got to know, because as a kid, there was plenty of times I snuck into the cornfield while Dad was working irrigating, and I would just say, "If you build it," okay. And my response from him, or I always got, was, "Get back to work." So how'd you guys get your dad to build a baseball field? Because that's freaking awesome.
Well, he built it when I was I don't even think I was born yet. When he got the idea, and it's a area that gets too cold to grow any fruit, apples or cherries, and it's just a cold spot. It's like the last place in Brewster that still has snow every single year, and no, I guess he just he knows way more about it, but he just had a vision. I'm gonna build a baseball field here. It's just a horse pasture, and he moved the fence. And he just built it from there. He got a lot of flack from, I think it was my grandpa, right? His father-in-law. But once it was done, he said it was the greatest thing built since the Grand Coulee Dam. So,
I mean, literally the story, I remember talking to your dad about it, Joe, is that it's almost like Iowa, like the Field of Dreams. When he's cutting this corn, everybody's coming up and like, what are you doing? Like, you're nuts. Like, this is money that you're wasting away, like a baseball field. And guys, I got to share the story because Joe tells me about this place last summer, and I'm kind of like, what? That's crazy. So then he's like, hey, after we play, I'll take you up there. And so I get in my rig and I'm driving, and it's like we're going up and we're literally driving through orchards, and I'm like, there's no way there's a baseball field. And all of a sudden you come around the corner, boom, there's this immaculate, and it's literally like heaven on earth. You walk out and it's so peaceful. And I think the sun was just coming right down. It was a perfect sunset, but it's just everything is perfectly manicured. And sure enough, your dad was out there watering the dirt, which I thought it was like, what do you got, a game? No, just out here watering the dirt, taking care of the grounds. But it's amazing. It's like unbelievable. My kids loved it. They absolutely, I think we were there for almost like half an hour, just them running around and playing. So it's a great place. Yeah.
Yeah. We used to go out there, during the season, me and Corey Jarrell, he was on my team, played with me in college, and we would just set the machine up, it's dead silent. It's just like whack, out in the middle of the orchards, and we'd hit for like 2 hours and not even realize it. You know what I mean? You go pick the balls up, you sit under a tree for a little bit, you go hit again. So yeah, a lot of good memories there. It's obviously a great place.
That's cool. So Joe, you kind of got, the upcoming season coming around the corner here. We start from Monday. Just kind of give us what's the first week going to look like for Brewster? Yeah,
it'll already be going by the time this episode runs.
That is true.
So what will the first week had looked like?
That's what I should say. Thank you for clarifying that, Eric. Yes. So what is the first week of practice going to look like here for you, Joe?
Was it good?
About it.
Can you tell us now? Was it good?
Yeah, it's great. Oh yeah.
Well, for the people listening, we recorded this before the season started. So
well, Eric, you can always cut and edit out this. It's just That's what's
But
nice
we
about
like
when
the
we
raw
don't
conversation, unedited.
go.
Let's go.
So, anyways, so
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it, but I haven't put a full week practice plan together. Well, our basketball team lost out pretty early, so I know the guys have been playing catch, hitting a little bit. They've been having like open gyms. I think guys have been going down the cage and stuff. But no, first week of practice, we're getting right into it. Day one, we get into a lot of base running. I'm big on that. I think if you can run the bases, you can steal a lot of runs in the postseason. Obviously, get arm health, get going, right? Get guys throwing some mini bullpens. That goes back to the pitching deal. I'm a lot of guys start doing more arm care, more bands, things like that. Start thinking about pitching a little bit. But obviously, just like mass ground balls, getting that feeling back and, getting the feeling of the basketball out of your hands and getting that baseball back in there. It's going to be pretty simple. Just mass hitting, mass ground balls, fly balls, getting our arms taken care of. But a lot of base running. We don't skip out on that.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty
So-
simple.
The you talk about just the Brewster mentality of playing sports. Is that something that you guys are preaching every day at practice? Is it something that just it comes with players showing up and growing up in the Brewster community? Like, how are you guys, how are you preaching that to your team?
Well, and it's tough. Yeah, I preach it to them all the time because I do not like lazy dudes. It's just a killer. I hate. I went into every single game like I just wanted to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had that mentality from being the youngest. I'd never won anything when I was little. I'm the youngest of all the cousins. And so I just kind of had that fire mentality that we're going to work hard every single day. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's handed to you, And I preach that a lot to the kids. I'm pretty tough. I want a strict practice. We're going to have fun, but you're going to listen and you're going to try hard. That is fun. I think trying hard is fun and playing hard's fun. And you can make baseball unboring, if that's a word, by playing hard. And I see Brewster as like, I always say I see it as the greatest place on earth. And I take a lot of pride in Brewster. Like, all I want to do is win a championship there and put the banner up in the gym. All my brothers did it. Well, one did it, but all my cousins, they won state titles. And yeah, it just killed me that I didn't get one. And we were close in basketball, baseball. I really want to get one in basketball, almost more than baseball. But no, I don't see a reason to go out there and lose. If that makes sense, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna win, we're gonna kick butt, and we're gonna play hard every single day. So when you show up on March 3rd, don't expect me to be talking. We're gonna get after it, and that's just how I feel about it, And you don't have to be a flashy rah guy. Just go out and try hard. You out there with your boys. You get to play baseball. You have no worries. You have schoolwork you got to worry about. Oh well, it's easy. And that's just how I see it. And yeah, I just try to tell the kids, like, you're playing baseball in Brewster. Like, there's been 4 guys drafted out of here. We got 7 state titles, 38 league titles, 29 district titles, and we've been in the Final Four a handful of times. Like, it means something. And I hate losing, and I don't expect to lose here. And when we do lose, I feel bad when I look out there and see the former players out in the crowd, I feel like I let them down. But, that's just how I go about it. Now, does every kid share that? Probably not yet, but they'll learn, Yeah.
Well,
So,
I think it comes from setting that, you're the way, man. You're the leader, right? You're the cap. And you setting the mood of the team. And if you're just out there kind of goofing off and not taking the thing serious, why should you have the expectation of getting those W's? I think, when I think of Brewster baseball, I think winners. I think a lot of people would know Brewster. You guys have had not just in baseball, but football and basketball. Basketball has probably done as much as probably or more than baseball, but it's just, you're going to find a good athlete out there, either from a Division I level to all the way down to a JUCO kind of guy that's going to go out and perform. And they know what the expectations are. They're the kind of that farmer grinder mindset. It's kind of like you can elevate your voice with them. You can, be very 2-point, and those kind of things. They know what the expectations. I mean, just that's what, it's like the Brewster way, right? And I think that's when you're setting that trend last year. You're kind of, and it just, coming into this year, I'm sure your guys are going to know what to expect, and when they screw up, they know they need to respond in order to continue to keep themselves in the lineup and continue to be successful as a team.
Yeah. Yeah. And with our team being so young, I think there's 6 guys who are all sophomores. So I had them as freshmen, right? And so I'm really excited to see how those guys are when they're seniors, because they're going to know what Brewster baseball is supposed to be like. I'm trying to, I'm coaching it the way I think it should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how the history is. And I'm excited to see what they do by senior year. I know there'll be a bunch of dogs out there. And it's, it's nice actually having young guys, because they can kind of, they're there for a while. They can tell the guys who are coming out of 8th grade or our 8th graders, like, this is what he expects. We're going to do this before practice, so he doesn't even have to tell us. Put the field away, those types of things. But yeah, that's just how.
When I think that carries over to your youth too, the little guys up on top of the hill, right? I mean, they kind of have that, knowing that expectation of, they all want to be, Brewster varsity players one day and play at the gorgeous brand new, fully renovated infield that you got there at Brewster High School, almost looking like an MLB field nowadays. But but the thing is that every kid goes down there and their hands are on the chain link fence with their faces pressed up against it, and just, I know they're dreaming, and I think that they watch that and they see that, and it just is the carryover. And so by their 7th grade, 8th grade, they know what the expectations are. They know how Coach Taylor communicates. He knows the signs. I mean, all those scenarios that, then by their freshman year, they're ready to go. And it's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a good little, what do you call it? Little league program with a lot of former players as coaches, and they do a really good job, because they know what Brewster baseball is all about. We expect to win. I mean, we could have the worst team in the state, and it's like we lose to Okanagan, and we're like, why did you lose? Like, what are you doing? Type thing. We expect to win. And, this year in basketball, we had kind of a rough season, but, we're like, next year, make it right type thing. You know what I mean? Like my brother Michael was like, someone said, you gotta have the bad ones to, enjoy the good ones. He's like, no, I want to be good every year. I don't see like that, like that's my mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I know there's going to be ups and downs, but I'm never going to lose that mindset. You know what I mean?
Joe, where does that kind of come from? Is that just your upkeep? Is that just something that you woke up one day and you're just like, this is who I am? Because you think a lot about different personalities and people. There's not a lot of people that have that mindset. You can have a losing season, they say, or a successful season, and you don't get quite to the top, and no, this isn't good enough. And you're like, oh no, coach, you did great. We got 4th in state, or, hey, at least we were 1 game and 1 out away. No, that's not good enough. No, I can't be satisfied with that.
Yeah. No, I think it just comes from probably mostly my dad. I mean, that dude's a winner, like forever. I think he's had 1 bad season, and the rest of that, like, people knew you don't want to play Tim Taylor's teams. It's like a well-oiled machine, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I got to watch all of my cousins play, and I just wanted to be like them. And like how I play, in basketball, like I wanted to, if I had to guard a guy, he wasn't going to score, like that was my mentality, even though he would. I don't know. I think I just got it from watching my older cousins and how they played. And I I don't know, I thought that was normal. Like, you just go out there to destroy and don't lose, because they were all winners. They won a lot of
Mhm.
state championships. And I think that's just where it came from, watching those guys. And mostly my dad just telling me to work hard all the time.
Do you get any kickback from parents in the community or kids that say, hey, coach, you're just a little too much over the top? Like, it is just a game. We are, just, I want my son to have some, time of high school experience of playing high school baseball. And this is kind of why we came to a small community. So you get more opportunities. I mean, I'm just saying, like, we face that a little bit at Tri-City Prep, to be honest with you. I mean, I will get a parent or two, and it was my earlier years, we would get that, and I know as time comes along, they know the expectation, they know how I tick, they know the things I'm going to blow a head gasket on. The other side, I don't see it as a big deal, but do you get some of that there in Brewster at all much? Or
I think it helped that all the people who have kids watch me grow up playing. So they kind of knew what I was like, kind of like a fireball. But, I don't blow up too much. So I don't think the kids have anything to say. And we haven't had a lot of kids play in my first year this year. So everyone got to play. So there's really no complaining. And so I think I could get away with, yelling at practice and doing things. But no, I have a really good group of parents right now. And they've been awesome. They've been nothing but helpful. But no, I haven't heard anything unless they're talking to each other. I haven't heard anything. So I'm gonna keep
Down
going
mini
until,
mart.
yeah.
or your AD is just taking a good hitting every day, and he's
Yeah,
covering for
probably.
you well.
Yeah. No, I think I've been haven't been too crazy yet. I haven't had any blow ups or anything. So yeah.
Well, Joe, as we start to wrap up our episode tonight, I got a listener question. Every once in a while we get some in here, I don't know how he knew we were recording, but I might have texted Todd Gibson, and I was like, hey, you got any questions for him? He's like, what topic? And I said, whatever you want, Todd. You just ask a question.
Oh,
And
boy.
his question is a deep one. If we know Todd, he asks some good ones. So from Todd Gibson, I want to know if Joe Taylor feels any pressure from his family or is putting it on himself to uphold that championship pedigree. If so, what approach is he using to manage it? If not, what is it that allows him to coach free of failure?
Ooh,
It's a good
that is
question,
tough.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, I feel pressure from my family, as in the Gevers Taylors, because they're all winners. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be a loser. They're all winners.
Holidays gets going to be a little rough, but
Christmas
the
can be
loser
awkward.
sitting in the corner there, Joe.
Well, I
Small
haven't
table.
had any of their kids on my teams yet, so they've been pretty relaxed, and there hasn't been too much pressure. I have one on my team this year. He's an 8th grader, but he's a great kid, and his dad's awesome. But I don't know. I think I put a lot of the pressure on myself, and to handle that, I don't know. I just trust the process. God's got a plan for everything, and we're gonna win. We're gonna lose. I think the outcome's already decided. I just gotta trust in it, and that's kind of how I deal with it. I kind of go back on my faith. I think that's the only way you can deal with it. I don't think there's any remedies or magic words that you could go back on. You could talk to yourself, whatever, but I think you got to have a faith aspect to it and just know you got to trust it. And he's got a plan for everything, but I put all the pressure on myself. I'm telling you. I don't think anyone's told me, like, you better win this year. The only person that's told me that is me. Probably my wife a few times, but
So Joe, are you a stress eater or don't eat at all when you're stressed out?
Stress eater?
Yeah, and you got, you got guys like, so Pat Casey, when he coached at Oregon State, when they go to Omaha, I read an article that he wouldn't eat at all. Like, literally they had to force food down him because he just was so in the moment and he just wanted to compete and win. That's just the way he was. And so he just never, had breakfast. I mean, it didn't say that he didn't eat at all, but I'm just saying that he was just a very minimal guy. And I'm the same way, I'm just like, when the big moments come in, I mean, I just I'm in the moment, man. I don't
Yeah.
have time to eat food, man. You know, it's got to
No,
roll.
I don't eat too much when I get stressed, and I also don't eat. I think I actually start probably like goofing around a little bit, with the guys when I'm nervous. Like I'm trying to tell them, "Hey, you good? Like we're good, we're fine," and I'm the nervous one. I think I kind of do that a little bit. Guys have told me on my team, "Hey, how come when we have a big game, you're like the nicest guy in the world?" So I think that's my deal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Joe, man, thank you so much for taking time tonight to especially get away from your new bride I hear in the last year. You got married. Congratulations for that. And
Thank you.
thank you for taking time to come on the podcast tonight.
Yeah, you bet. This is awesome. I've heard a lot about it, so glad I could join it.
Oh, man, we appreciate it. Good luck this spring, unless you're playing the Coyotes. I guess the Jaguars too. We'll see you at we're crossing over in districts this year, but man, good luck this spring, and hopefully come Monday your field's nice and dry and everybody can get some baseball in.
Perfect. Good luck to you guys too. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Joe.
Yep.